live from Ann Arbor. This is University of Michigan women's basketball right here at Crisler Center in Ann Arbor. I'm Vihaan Easwar. I'm joined by Josh Brown for the first half of this matchup against the Central Michigan Chippewas in an early regular season contest for a team that has gotten off to a very, very strong start. You know, you got this young, speedy front team that came out, really gave the defending national champions South Carolina a great fight, then came out with a blowout win over Lehigh. This is a very exciting team. Josh, what are some things that you want to see from this team today?
Yeah, well, it's great to be on with you, Vihaan, on this nice Thursday evening here in Ann Arbor. Looking forward to a nice chill between Michigan and Central Michigan, as you said. And I kind of think the really thing that I think most Michigan fans are looking forward to is seeing how Silas Swords continues to play and perform here for Michigan. You know, had that awesome first game, leading the way with 27 points, 9-19 from the field, with 12 rebounds against South Carolina, then following that up with a 20-point performance to lead Michigan and scoring once again against Lehigh. Another one of the five-star freshmen. Michigan has 3 freshmen in their starting lineup in a 5-guard lineup, so I think it'll be really interesting to see how the Wolverines kind of continue to respond. As this team gets more experience, they can just rack up a few of those quality wins in the non-conference play, serve them well in an interesting Big Ten this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big storyline behind this team so far has been how they've kind of had a way to find a way to play without necessarily the presence of a big on a team. You know, you've got players like Yulia Graboskaya, Ali Van Timmeren on the roster, but they haven't really just been able to break into that starting 5 just yet. So this team is very heavy on guard and wing play. You know, they're going to have to get down the court quick, shoot. It makes for some exciting basketball, and it's interesting to see, you know, what we're going to see out of this team just for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think defensively, it'll be very interesting to see. You know, you're going to expect a lot of ball movement. You know, ideally some patience from Michigan trying to shoot threes and such, but I think it'll be very, you know, fascinating to see how they move the ball and try to defend against the Chippewas here this evening. And, you know, lots to really kind of look forward to. Olivia Olson's also been very solid to start the year. It's pretty good. This announcer starter had 17 points against Lehigh. And then Brooke Quarles-Daniels off the bench, a transfer from Oakland, will likely be coming off the bench. I think bench production as well will be big for Michigan moving forward, just to add a little bit more size. And, you know, as you mentioned, the lack of size for Michigan, I think, is going to be something very key to kind of monitor throughout, you know, this game and this season.
Yeah, and we're just going to run the starting lineup with you real quick. So for the Chippewas, we have Maddie Morrison, Jess Lawson, and Jada Mosley, all guards. You got Demetria Pruitt as at forward, and then Taylor Johnson at center. And for your Michigan Wolverines, you're running a lineup of 5 guards, to prove our point earlier. You've got Olivia Olson, Mila Holloway, Jordan Hobbs, Greta Kemp-Schrader, and Silas Swords. So you're bringing back Kemp-Schrader, you're bringing back Hobbs, who were key contributors on that team last year that made a run in the NCAA tournament. But Olson, Holloway, and Swords make up the program's most acclaimed freshman class ever.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a highly touted recruiting class. Michigan got rated pretty hard in their transfer portal last year, losing a lot of, you know, key players, but ultimately still a couple remain, and I think we're looking forward to an exciting contest. Now on the Central Michigan side, I think, you know, one of the key players we're going to be looking out for is Maddie Morrison, number 0 for the Chippewas, had 13 points. Central Michigan's only played 1 game so far, had a 10-day layoff after their 3-point loss to Coastal Carolina, and, you know, Maddie Morrison had 13 points in that game. But Jess Lawson did have a double-double in that game, and so did Demetria Pruitt. So I think those players, you talk about players with 10 rebounds, 2 players with 10 rebounds in that starting lineup. It's going to be very hard for Michigan to rebound with 5 guards. They're going to have to rotate people across the bench. But if Central Michigan can feast on the glass, I think this could be a sneaky, tricky game for the Wolverines. Got to eliminate the second chance points in Chippewas as the game's about to get started.
As we bring you to tip-off, and Michigan's going to come off physical on that opening tip-off as Mila Holloway on the logo finds Jordan Hobbs on the perimeter of the paint. Hobbs back to Olson. Olson to Swords from her behind. Swords drives in the paint, and that's going to be good for the first bucket of the game.
That's just the bread and butter for Michigan. Some nice ball movement on the perimeter, then Silas Swords driving in for a nice, easy layup to start the game. Expect her to continue to be a big factor here for the Wolverines.
As the Chippewas making their way back up to the other end of the court, but that's nicely blocked away by Mila Holloway as ball is going to go out of bounds. It's going to be the Chippewas ball, but that's a nice bit of defense, just a nice bit of tactical ball control there.
Yeah, and kind of seeing, you know, Central Michigan kind of match up with Michigan early. It's not like they have, you know, a significant size advantage. Just, you know, we kind of talked about that 5-guard lineup here.
as Maddie Morrison for the Chippewas is going to attempt the three from the right end of the arc. Not quite going to get there as Olivia Olson picks up the rebound, sends it out to Silas Swords from outside the arc, and that's a very good attempt at three that is unfortunately rebounded by the Chippewas.
Yeah, no, that's the shot you want for Silas Swords. It's a steal right there. Goes to Swords.
Swords to Holloway. Holloway's going to get Michigan's second bucket of the game, and that's going to bring things up to 4-0 Michigan with just under 9 minutes to go in this first quarter.
Yeah, the Chippewas had 12 turnovers in their opening game. That was one right there, and 18 in their exhibition against Saginaw Valley State. So definitely some opportunities for Michigan to kind of feast on the defensive end.
As that's going to be Jess Lawson being boxed out by Holloway and Hobbs. She was trying to do something from the right end of the arc, but not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah,
Still going to be Chippewa's ball.
Yeah, it was a nice little double team in the corner. Central Michigan lucky to retain possession as they'll inbound in here, but just continued solid defensive effort early on.
Mosley gets the ball out to Lawson. Lawson on the perimeter of the paint. Lawson going to attempt the bucket, not quite going to get there as Olivia Olson with another rebound and a fast break up to Kim Schrader. Kim Schrader driving into the paint. Kim Schrader not quite there, but Olson's going to try and get the second chance opportunity, going to win a foul as Michigan is going to get their first set of free throws of the game.
Yeah, Cam Schrader's offensive struggle is sort of continuing a little bit, only averaging, I think, scored 5 points all season and missing Bunny right there as a layup. But luckily for the Wolverines, they'll be going back to the line here with Olivia Olson shooting a pair from the line.
As Olson's first attempt is going to be good to bring it up to 5-0 Wolverines, and she's going to have a chance to put Michigan up at 6 very soon, and she's going to do it. 6-0 Wolverines, 8:20 on the board. First quarter.
Exactly the start that the doctor ordered for Michigan, trying to get up early, kill any potential confidence that the Chippewas had coming into this game. It's now kind of struggling to move the ball here. It's Jada Mosley.
Mosley off to Morrison. Morrison not quite able to breach the paint. Going to try and send it back to Mosley, but that's going to go out of bounds. Going to go the Wolverines' way. And I think, Josh, I'm sure you got more to add on this. It's a great bit of defense from the Wolverines to sort of box them out as Holloway on the rebound. Holloway outside the paint, off to Camp Schrader. Camp Schrader from downtown. Not quite.
The ball will stay here, though, after a loose ball foul on the Chippewas. And that'll go on Maddie Morrison. The team's second foul. Definitely a lucky foul. It seemed like Central Michigan was ready for an easy rebound there. Wolverines lucky to retain possession.
As that goes to Hobbs in the paint. Hobbs driving in. Hobbs good for the bucket. 8-0 Wolverines. Just under 8 minutes left in the first quarter.
And all Michigan's makes, 3 shots have all been very high percentage shots. No threes made yet. 2 free throws.
As off to the other end of the court, there seems to be a bit of a
yeah, an offensive foul there. It looked like it was a little bit of a charge there, and that was on Lawson. Yeah, so that went on. Yeah.
Yeah,
went
the
on Jess
monitor
Lawson.
showing that Jess Lawson brought down Jordan Hobbs. Not necessarily malicious, but definitely a little clumsy as Michigan gets the ball back with
3
Holloway
turnovers.
finding Olson in the paint. No good. Rebounded by the Chippewas.
3 turnovers already for Central Michigan. It's going to be costly here, and have already been proving costly against the Wolverines. Some nice defense there.
Morrison trying to drive in again, but the Chippewas just can't breach the paint as Holloway rebounding. Holloway finds Hobbs. Hobbs from downtown. Bang!
An 11-0 run to start the game for the Wolverines, punctuated by a Jordan Hobbs 3. Michigan out to an early 11-0 lead. Central Michigan hasn't really found many high percentage shots, if any. They've just been coughing the ball up far too much on the other end, and that has put the Wolverines in the position they are right now. Solid ball movement. I feel like a lot of the shots beyond that they've taken are all very high percentage looks, Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Michigan's just sort of really figuring out where their opportunities are coming. They're moving the ball extremely well. Like we've talked about, they're getting there quickly. Their spacing's good. They've got enough room to operate on the court, but they're also close enough to each other where it can just be this quick one-touch movement of passes.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolverines shooting 50% for the field so far. And Central Michigan's only gotten 3 shots off where Michigan's gotten 8. Really the turnover problems have just continued to kind of plague Central Michigan. Certainly not what you want against a team that I think defensively we didn't really know as much what to expect from the Wolverines, especially given their small lineup. But they've been very pesky, forcing turnovers. South Carolina really kind of struggled to figure them out early, and now, seeing Central Michigan just with a goose egg through 3 minutes. Michigan's having its way offensively, and they're getting all the looks that they want and all the looks you could ask for.
Yeah, and you'll notice the Chippewas very much feel pinned, mostly just to the outside of the arc, of the Wolverines' arc. They're not really able to get those looks into the paint. They're not able to drive in there. I think it just shows the Wolverines maybe aren't necessarily getting hands to their opponents, but they're at the very least maintaining a press. They've organized well. They're dictating where exactly their opponents are.
Yeah, and I think one of the key players defensively has been Olivia Olson early. Very solid. I think came up, offensive rebound, defensive rebound. But the steal from Mila Holloway was also really nice. Just that strong defense, but 6 points in the paint for Michigan combined with that 1-3. So I think when you have this guard lineup, if we're able to kind of get in the paint, you have to take almost every look you can get. With no center to really kind of get down low, it's going to be a high-paced, high-energy, fast-moving, team, and I think that's what we've seen early. Michigan has cashed in on those Central Michigan turnovers with 4 points off them as well. But we'll see how the Chippewas kind of come out of this timeout, continuing to really try to see these 3 excellent freshmen for the Wolverines in Olson, Holloway, and Swords. I think it's a real challenge early on for many of these teams to go up against Michigan, not knowing what to expect, little film on display. The Central Michigan's team, kind of cobbled together with some returning players, but some transfers as well, even from some, Division II schools that are going up against some McDonald's All-Americans here. Definitely a little bit of a talent gap as the game resumes.
Yeah, and the Chippewas have made 1 substitution. Jess Lawson is off. Lisa Tesson is in, accounting for that foul. I think.
Yeah, and she just threw that, to nowhere, threw it out of bounds, a careless turnover, and that's already, as I've said, number 4 for Central Michigan in terms of turnovers. Just a careless turnover there. Michigan will be gladly taking possession as Mila Holloway is bringing the ball up right now.
Yeah, inbounded from Hobbs out of bounds. Holloway hands off to Camp Schrader. Camp Schrader to Olson on the edges of the arc. Olson's going to drive her way in. Olson manages to fight some good defending. Found by Swords, and Swords is going to go down. And
although they ruled a jump ball there, honestly kind of thought that might have been a clean steal, but Swords held on to it just long enough. They ruled a jump ball, and the Chippewas with the possession arrow will get the ball back.
As Tesson skirting the edges of the paint, driving to her right, finds a pass to Mosley on her left. Mosley was looking for Johnson driving into the paint. That's going to be out of bounds. Wolverines ball as Jordan Hobbs looks to inbound. She's going to inbound it back to Mila Holloway. Holloway, right of the logo. Finds a pass on her left to Olson. Olson takes it herself. Good 3 attempt that's unfortunately going nowhere as it is rebounded by Morrison.
That's turnover number 6 there for Central Michigan in just under 4 minutes of play. 6 turnovers, careless with the ball, and I think that's really kind of what we're seeing so far. I mean, this is really a shocking offensive performance from Central Michigan. I mean, it's not even like they're just missing shots. Certainly some teams are going to have, talent gaps and such, and, that's obviously the case, but really just careless and, discombobulated offense with poor communication for the Chippewas as Michigan now has the ball.
As Olson finds a pass on her right to Swords. That goes back to Hobbs, to Holloway, to Olson. Olson finds Holloway on the edge at the center of the arc from the outside. Going nowhere, rebounded by the Chippewas. As
nearly another turnover there from Central Michigan.
Yeah, Holloway had a pair of hand stat, but that was not enough as Ham for the Chippewas drives in. Still not able to break into the paint as that's rebounded by the Wolverines as Holloway finds Olson. Olson driving into the paint. Olson, there's another bucket as the Wolverines go up 13-0 with about 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first quarter.
Really nice. Yeah, really nice shot there from Olivia Olson. Nice play. Michigan continue to get high percentage shots and whatever looks they want. It's just about whether or not they go in. As a steal there, the 7th turnover.
As Holloway keeping it herself, looking for a pass. Gonna find Swords on the edge of the paint. Swords, turn around. Swords goes down, tries to earn the contact. Yep, she is. She's gonna earn another set of free throws as the Wolverines are gonna look to stretch the advantage. 13-0 already.
Yeah, some other careless play there. I think that'll be Foul went against Central Michigan, but Michigan's not in the bonus just yet. 4 fouls. Next one will be in the bonus, though, for the Wolverines. Fouls starting to pile up, and the mistakes continue to pile for Central Michigan. As a missed shot there from the Wolverines in Graboskaya.
As the Chippewas are going to be able to drive down, and they're going to get their first bucket of the game. That's going to be Darrington, number 25, who gets pretty clean bucket there. Already rebounded by the Wolverines is Graboskaya on the edge of the paint. Graboskaya is good for her first bucket of the game. Shortly after coming on as a substitute, as Jordan Hobbs and Silas Swords are currently not in the game, whereas Brooke Quarles-Daniels and Yulia Grabovskaya are.
Yeah, and Quarles-Daniels had that really nice game against in the season opener, the home opener against Lehigh. I think came on off the bench with 13 points. Some of the first 2 Wolverines off the bench was a really solid transfer from Oakland coming in, and you'll see how she makes the impact, but also Graboskaya as well, the transfer from Middle Tennessee State, who struggled early on for the Wolverines. A missed shot there by the Chippewas.
As Michigan driving down well. Graboskaya in the paint. Graboskaya, another easy bucket. As Michigan's advantage is stretched to 17-2. Graboskaya, nice way of just using her space to create, her size to create a lot of space. She was pretty much wide open there, collected the pass for an easy bucket. That's up to 4 points as Wolverines stretch their advantage to 15. 17-2 Michigan with 4 minutes on the clock in the first quarter.
So Michigan really struggling to get anything going offensively. The layup does there go. A nice little floater there by Mila Ham. Michigan goes quick on the other end in transition. Drawing the foul there is Brooke Quarles-Daniels.
As it looks as though Michigan is going to be able to earn, I think, another set of free throws. As that is going to be Brooke Quarles-Daniels stepping up. Quarles-Daniels already at 6.5 points per game and a very respectable set of contributions coming off the bench.
Yeah. So coming off of the Wolverines there is Greta Cam Schrader and Mila Holloway, and then on Macy Brown, as well as I believe Hobbs coming back out.
She's going to unfortunately miss her first, but she is going to have a chance to stretch the Wolverines' lead to 14, and her second free throw attempt is going to be no good as the rebound is picked up by Jess Lawson, who's now back on the court for the Chippewas. Lawson double teamed well by Olsen and Quarles-Daniels. That's still going to be the Chippewas' ball, but that's a good bit of defensive play there.
Central Michigan there coming out of the inbounds. A little bit of a nice play, but then just another careless turnover there. I mean, these really are compiling and very, wouldn't even say uncharacteristic, but a really obscene amount of turnovers early.
As that is a nice long court pass from Macy Brown, stretching the court, getting Olivia Olsen in for another easy bucket. She's already up to 6 points on the game today. As the Chippewas going to get the rebound, going to miss another careless attempt as Jess Lawson for the Chippewas managed to make her way down, scores in an open backcourt. It is now 19-6 Wolverines with 13 minutes left. As Olsen from the paint, another attempt at a bucket. Quarles-Daniels attempting the steal. Not going to get it the first time. She's going to get the ball back the second time. She's going to hand it back to Macy Brown to Grabovskaya in the paint. Grabovskaya manages to draw the foul.
Yeah, no, nice play. I really just love how fast Michigan's playing early on in this game. Constantly trying to move the ball, push the ball up into the front court in transition after a made basket by Central Michigan. Really kind of propelled, some of this offense later on in this quarter, despite having Yulia Grabovskaya on, really being able to kind of combine some nice speed and play here early on for Michigan.
And Grabovskaya, as I said, already at 4 points on the day, as she's going to have a chance to add to that tally here. And her first free throw attempt is going to be
quite the free throw motion. It's almost like she's just pushing it up with one arm on her right arm.
And her second attempt is going to be, that's going to be good, as the Wolverines reach the 20-point mark. Grabovskaya with 5 points is now tied for the second highest points on the team. Grabovskaya and Jordan Hobbs both with 5, as Olsen is 6.
Yeah, it's really kind of been that three-headed monster so far. Maybe not the three-headed monster we expected, but a three-headed monster nonetheless for the Wolverines leading the scoring early.
As Jess Lawson from close to the logo from the perimeter of the Wolverines arc tries to get a ball in there, then tries to drive in there herself. Going to be unsuccessful as the Chippewas still struggling to put points on the board, but they do manage to win the ball back as Lawson inbounds the ball back to Darrington, who scored the Chippewas, I believe, first bucket, and that's not going to be good.
Yeah, it was a good defense there by Grabaskaya there, just really trying to get some of that, you didn't allow, I believe she's defending Darrington wasn't able to get an easy shot there whatsoever. But Central Michigan just throws it away there on another inbounds. Seems like they're going to retain possession. However, I didn't think the Wolverines touched that. I guess we'll see. It looks like they're taking a look now on a potential replay to try to figure out possession. I didn't think anyone on Michigan touched it.
Yeah, that was an attempted inbound.
Yep, and it looks like it is going to be Michigan ball. If my numbers are good today, that might be the 9th turnover for Central Michigan. Again, just staggering number. Maybe it's number 10, actually. Michigan now with the ball once again.
Hobbs inbound to Brown, to Quarles Daniels. Back to Hobbs, back to Brown, back to Hobbs. Hobbs into the paint. Still Hobbs. Not going to be good for the bucket. Recovery by Grabovskaya as the Chippewas are going to get the steal. Wolverines really able to sort of use their numbers to their advantage. Box in as Ham driving into the paint. Ham going to attempt the bucket. Recovery by Hobbs, but we'll see whose ball that is. That might be getting
it was a foul against Grabaskaya there. It was pretty. I feel like it was just bumped her on the shot, and now going to the line for the Chippewas will be Mila Ham. She'll be going to the line now. Central Michigan shooting 2. Michigan up 20-6 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
As Ham's first attempt from the free throw mark is going to go in, as that's a fairly clean, fairly straightforward throw. Yeah,
and Ham, sophomore guard from Detroit, and actually a transfer from Georgetown, joining the program this season. So their second one is up, isn't good. Wolverines' lead is tripping just a little bit to 12.
Yeah, as Jordan Hobbs going to inbound it to Brown. Back to Hobbs. Hobbs driving down at the logo. Gonna find a pass to Kemp Schrader on her left. Sorry. Kemp Schrader finds Hobbs on her right. Hobbs from downtown. Hobbs, bang!
Another 3 there by Jordan Hobbs. Both of Michigan's 3s here to start the game. Continuing to kind of add on to Michigan's lead and showing that veteran presence, good shot selection, and obviously the execution to finish it off as well. But just the continuation of, while Michigan hasn't shot great from the field, they continue to just get those high percentage looks, and ultimately they will ultimately go in. Enough of them.
As that is going to be an attempt to drive in.
Offensive foul.
That's an offensive foul for the Chippewas. As that is going to be yet another inbounding attempt from Jordan Hobbs.
That'll go on Taylor Anderson for Central Michigan. The 11th turnover of the half. And now Macy Brown will come out of the game. Quarles Daniels, Holloway back in, along with, I believe that's Cam Schrader.
Hobbs and Holloway.
Yeah, Holloway and now. Looks like they're just going to take a little bit of a second to clean off a little bit of a wet spot on the court. But yeah, the current starting 5 looks like it's Silas Swords, Olivia Olson. Looks like it's the normal starting 5 for Michigan, except you have Brooke Quarles Daniels in there.
As Hobbs inbounds to Holloway. Quarles Daniels on the left. Hobbs finds pass to Olson on the right. Olson end around from the paint. Olson finds Kemp Schrader. Kemp Schrader is going to attempt it from the left of the arc, as that is unfortunately a brick.
Yeah, Michigan very fortunate to obtain possession there. Retain possessions just went off a Central Michigan player. I think that might have been off of Taylor Anderson. Or correction, that was Demetria Pruitt. There's a 3 up by Hobbs again. Or that's Greta Cam Schrader, sorry. To make the 3, that's her first rate shot of the game. She's had some good looks and finally gets that one to go down.
As Michigan storming out to a 26-8 lead with under a minute to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, Michigan on a very quick 6-0 run, finally getting some of those threes to fall down. And now starting to get really, really in control of this game early on, up 26-8 with just under a minute to go in the first.
As Lawson inbound to Pruitt. Back to Lawson. Found Mosley.
Darrington there that missed the shot, and then Michigan comes up with the ball. Hobbs trying to push it a little bit in transition, checks it up.
As that's going to be Holloway. Holloway's going to sweep around, come back to the logo.
5-second differential between this shot and the game clock. Just over 20 seconds now.
As Holloway is still looking for a play, going to try and work the game clock as much as possible before making the shot and making the pass. As Holloway's going to drive in. Up to Cam Schrader. Cam Schrader from downtown. Bang!
Greta Cam Schrader's second three as the quarter wears down. No urgency from Central Michigan. They'll put up a heave. It's no good.
And the Wolverines storm out to a 21-point lead over early on in this first quarter. 29-8 in Michigan. Chippewas putting 8 points on the board in a very sloppy, very turnover-heavy performance so far. As the Wolverines moving the ball well, choosing the right shots, managing to make inroads in the paint, continuing the strong offensive trajectory that they've shown us throughout their first 3 games, in addition to a very involved defensive attempt.
Listen, I mean, this team's fun. Silas Swords only but 2 points, so Michigan still up 21 points just after the first quarter alone. I think it's a really good sign of things to come, and she's really kind of carried a lot of the offensive production for the Wolverines early on. Really, really like what I'm seeing. The made threes from Jordan Hobbs, who's really kind of been the star of the game. But then at the end of the quarter, Greta Cam Schrader, who had really struggled, missing some easier looks early on in the quarter, missed a bunny layup to start the game, then missed a couple of other threes, hit 2 to end the quarter, putting Michigan up into a very, very solid, comfortable position here. As the first quarter ends, just to kind of go over some of the stats, Vihaan, Michigan shooting only 45.8% of the field, 44% from 3 though, 4 from 9. 3 for 6 at the free throw line. But Central Michigan, only 11 shots taken in this first quarter. They've finished the quarter with 11 turnovers, so they're averaging over 1 turnover a minute. In a very, very jarring statistic, and has really hampered their ability to keep this game anywhere within reach right now.
Josh, and I think if there's one thing that's kind of surprised me so far, it's the involvement of Yulia Grabowskaya, who's come on, managed to use her size to get some really good looks from inside the paint, and managed to put on, you know, a solid 5-6 points already. And I think that was only something that was surprising because I think a lot of people weren't expecting her to play that much. Very new to the team, still being integrated there, but she's been great so far.
Yeah, no, she's been good. 5 early points there for Michigan. But I think, as I kind of mentioned in the first couple of minutes, it really didn't seem like, despite Michigan just playing all guards, that they had any significant size disadvantage against the Chippewas. And, you know, when you insert a 6'5" center, then you're going to have that side advantage. And Michigan was really able to exploit that and grab this guy's first couple of minutes. She was able to score a couple quick layups, you know, very point-blanky shots. Ultimately, that's kind of what's, you know, really kind of propelled Michigan beyond that early initial 11-0 run. Second quarter is about to start here for the Wolverines. I'll take over play-by-play. Vihaan will stay on color. And we'll finish off this first half and see if Michigan can continue to stretch their lead early on. Try to, you know, put them away for good before halftime. You know, make this kind of a very insurmountable deficit. But Michigan, you know, they've really been able to stay turnover-free, been able to capitalize off those 11 Central Michigan turnovers for 10 points as the second quarter begins with Mila Holloway passing it in to Olivia Olson. Michigan trying to work the ball around the perimeter, and now it's Silas Swords time, going up for a layup. Just comes up short, and now trying to scramble for the rebound. It's Allie Van Timmeren. Looks like we're going to get a jump ball, and that will give Central Michigan the ball. But again, I really like how Silas Swords trying to, you know, get a very high percentage shot there, right, Vihaan?
Yeah, absolutely. Silas Swords, the breakout star of this team, already averaging a whopping 23.5 points per game, 7 assists, and 9 rebounds. So in her very first 2 games at the collegiate level, she's already close to averaging a triple-double, which is nuts.
Lawson trying to work it in, back to Tessin. Now under the basket there is Pruitt. Shot comes up short, gets a little bit blocked. Now Silas Swords is trying to push the ball a little bit. And now gets it to Olivia Olson, who kicks it to Mila Holloway. Comes up with no room. down towards the baseline is now Olivia Olsen, goes to work. Down low, kicks it out to Silas Swords for 3, and that rattles in. A 3 for Silas Swords, and Michigan stretches the lead. The Maple Leaf extending Michigan's lead to 24, 32-8. Central Michigan is really reeling here in this game. Chippewas there. Tessin trying to go inside to Pruitt. Gets the lay-in to go.
And while we're talking about Silas Swords, about the three-pointer that she just completed, it's also worth noting that she made history this summer when she became the youngest player ever to represent the Canadian women's basketball team at the Paris Olympics.
Yeah, it was awesome. I know Kim Barnes-Enrico, Michigan's coach, went to Paris to support her, so that was really cool to see. Swords now with the ball again, trying to drive it inside. Comes up well short, kind of hits the rim on a layup that definitely got a little bit impacted by the Chippewas defense as they're pushing now. And a shot up there, misses from Lawson. So Michigan will now get the ball back, trying to push it in transition with Holloway. Off a nice pass from Swords. Holloway runs out of room, gets it to Cam Schrader. And now Cam Schrader for 3 at the top of the key, and that is good. That was the 3. Her toes were just behind the line. Another 3 for Michigan. That's great. Cam Schrader's 3rd 3 of the game. Michigan now up 35-10, just over 2 minutes into the second quarter here.
Cam Schrader with 9 points on the board, all of which have come from the three-point line.
Yeah, Central Michigan now. Mosley in at the top of the key now. Gets it to Tessin. Tessin trying to find something with 6 seconds on the shot clock, trying to drive it inside, but Wolverines are all there, nearly forcing the turnover, but there will be 2 seconds on the shot clock. Cam Schrader tried to chuck it up, see if anyone on Michigan would ultimately get it, but she hit the back of the backboard, and the Chippewas will retain possession with a fresh shot clock.
Yeah, as so far the Wolverines are sort of adopting the same, that.
And a travel there by Central Michigan. That'll go against Mayla Ham. The first turnover from the Chippewas this quarter, but up to 12 already on the game. That's, generally the amount that would already be a little bit too much in an entire game, and they've had that through 12 minutes. Mila Holloway trying to get it to Olivia Olsen, and now back to Swords. The freshman trying to pass it around, find someone open. And that'll be Holloway for 3, just a little bit strong, but Swords gets the rebound for the Wolverines. They'll pass it in. And that's Jordan Hobbs now going up for it. Gets the foul, and 1. Jordan Hobbs, and 1. The Wolverines now going to the free throw line. Hobbs now up to 8 points with the free throw incoming.
Yeah, and Jordan Hobbs on the season, second highest scorer so far, averaging 18 points per game and a tremendous 9.5 rebounds per game.
Correction, Hobbs now up to 10 points. And with that made free throw right there, that'll make it 11. 4 for 5 from the field, 2 of 2, made both of her threes early in the first quarter. And now that and 1 there, essentially a 3-point play. So there you go, with Central Michigan trying to get it inside. Now that'll go to Anderson. And Tessin now trying to find space. This Michigan defense has been absolutely swarming. Have to give credit to the Wolverines defense early on in this game. There's a shot put up there by the Chippewas. And it looks like that'll be a foul on Central Michigan off a shot attempt by Smith. Riley Smith, the freshman forward from Miamisburg, Ohio. Shot missed, and then I think it was a loose ball foul after that against Central Michigan. And Michigan will be inbounding the ball as Jordan Hobbs tosses it to Mila Holloway.
Yeah, and it's worth noting Michigan's defense is very well organized. They seem to have their double teams down pat. They've not broken shape at all, making it very difficult for the Chippewas to find inroads into the paint.
There's an elbow jumper there by Silas Swords. Is pure. Bounce out the rim a couple times before dropping in. Michigan now quadrupling up the Chippewas. Central Michigan there misses a shot. As Michigan will push up in transition with Jordan Hobbs, who passes it back to now Allie Van Timmeren, who's in the game. Going to the lane is Mila Holloway, who doesn't get the layup to go, but does draw the foul.
As Holloway is going to have a chance to add to her 2 points from the free throw line, but she does already have 4 assists, and that reflects her status as the main creator on this team with 11 assists per game on the season, which is fantastic.
Holloway now at the line. Her first free throw is up, and it rolls off the rim. No good. ball, ready to shoot for her second free throw, and that one catches nothing but the net and goes down 41-10 Wolverines. Michigan going a little full court press here on Central Michigan. Tesson trying to bring the ball up. Nothing has been easy for Central Michigan today. So now they're kicking the ball out to Anderson. Anderson struggling to try to dribble, get anything going towards the paint. Chucks up a heave and is fortunate to draw the foul there. And that foul will go on Mila Holloway, her second foul of the game. She'll be the only Wolverines player so far with 2 fouls, so wouldn't be surprised to see a sub there. And there's the sub, so Macy Brown coming in for Mila Holloway. After Holloway drew her second foul, the Wolverines are on a 9-0 run, and Central Michigan hasn't scored in almost 3 minutes until possibly now. The free throw goes down there by Taylor Anderson, who averaged 7.1 points per game last season in 25 minutes. The junior guard from South Lyon, Michigan. Second free throw is up and good. Michigan now coming up with Macy Brown, dribbling the ball up and gets it to Jordan Hobbs. And now Olivia Olson trying to go down low, kicks it out to Hobbs, who goes back inside, chucks up a little shot, misses, and then the rebound is true by Brooke Quarles-Daniels. Nice little putback there off the miss by Jordan Hobbs. Hobbs' only second field goal miss of the game, 4 for 6. Now Central Michigan finally an open shot. It's a 3 and it goes down. Feels like the first open shot for the Chippewas today, but Taylor Anderson gets it to go. Now Olivia Olson going to work down low, misses the layup, but gets the rebound, but not before a loose ball foul, might be over the back. And that will go on Allie Van Timmeren, I believe. That'll be her first.
Yeah,
All right, Central Michigan now bringing the ball back up. Anderson trying to get something going after hitting that nice three on the last possession. I believe that was the Chippewas' first 3 of the game, as it was only their second attempt. Really have not been able to get any open looks. It was refreshing to see them almost get a look there. It's a shot put up there by Lawson. Jess Lawson, the senior guard from Las Vegas, a D2 transfer from University of Illinois Springfield, as Macy Brown goes to work on the other end and gets the layup to respond to the nice little offensive outburst by Central Michigan as they're finally starting to get some decent looks.
Right, as Michigan is now up to a 28-point lead, slightly cutting down the 31-point lead they had a few minutes ago. But
as a 3 there is airball by number 22, Satori Griffin, the redshirt junior guard. As there will be a hell ball there. Michigan will get the ball off the possession arrow. Yeah, Vihaan, it's been quite the continued offensive performance for the Wolverines, it's sure to say, in this second quarter.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see, some of that defensive grit that we've talked about a little bit really come out. I think we've seen the Wolverines full court press on a couple of attempts. At the very least, they're pressing extremely well towards the back of the court, as they have always been throughout this game. And I think that kind of shows, the way they've sort of had to work around their relative lack of size. You compensate for lack of size with numbers and agility, and I think that's the benefit of setting up a press. Just staying physical, staying involved throughout the court, not giving the Chippewas much room to breathe, which they really haven't done. There haven't been very many. There's only been one empty backcourt situation that I remember during the entirety of the game. The Wolverines have really just sort of boxed the Chippewas out of the paint, forcing them to resort to a lot of looks from outside the paint or outside the arc entirely.
Or just committing turnovers.
Yeah.
They haven't had as many in the second quarter. They've only had 1, which is significantly less than their 12 and the 11 in the first quarter, after 12 in the game. Michigan has been able to cash in with 13 points off those turnovers. I believe their 1 turnover in this quarter did lead to 3 Wolverines points. Michigan shooting 6 for 12 and 3. I think Greta Kamfer has been a pleasant surprise as well in the second quarter. Or just game in general. 9 points total. Had that one of her threes in the second quarter. She's definitely a sharpshooter with 5 of her shots coming from beyond the arc. But if she can get those to go down, because this team is very fun to watch so far. This Michigan team, a lot of different players that can score at different times for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some quick stats updates. So Jordan Hobbs leading the team in points at the moment with 11, followed And Silas Swords leading with 5 rebounds, and Mila Holloway continuing her role as the playmaker of the team with 4 assists. And some other notables, obviously we've got Carter Kempschrader with 9 points on the board, 3 rebounds and 1 assist as well. But all of Kempschrader's points are actually from 3, so that just kind of shows, you know, you get the ball out there on the edge of the arc, and you just really kind of, you let her cook. And Olivia Olson with 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 defensive rebounds, and 2 assists. So that's a nice well-rounded performance from her there.
It's been a relatively balanced effort, and they haven't had to rely on Silas Swords that much. I think Swords only has 5 points so far. You know, it's been very well, evenly distributed, and you don't want the same player to carry a team. You can't be one-dimensional. You have multiple players that can step up, get you 15, 20 points on a given night, and I think Michigan's sort of showing that they do potentially have that. But against a definitely weaker and inferior opponent in Central Michigan. I think Central Michigan comes out with a little bit of a press here. Michigan trying to move quick. Brooke Quarles-Daniels gets stuffed there by Riley Smith. Out of bounds there. Central Michigan will retain possession. And the Chippewas will keep possession here as Smith inbounds the ball to Jess Lawson. Bring the ball up. Trying to set a screen there. A little bit of an open look there. The shot goes down and it is good. A nice little pick and pop there from Riley Smith. Michigan trying to just respond quickly back in transition. It is now a 45-20 game. Olivia Olson now with the ball for the Wolverines. Getting towards the top of the key. And now Brooke Quarles-Daniels on the wing. Gets it to Olivia Olson, who fades away from the basket for a little bit of a lower percent shot. Misses, comes up short. Macy Brown under the basket. I think she stepped out of bounds. Macy Brown steps out of bounds, and Central Michigan will get the ball. The turnover there. Yeah, I would have really liked I believe that was Olivia Olson, just go up strong to the rim there instead of fading away for a lower percentage shot.
Yeah, if Macy Brown had managed to stay inbounds, that would have been a very nice bucket with the way she turned around. And
steal from Brooke Quarles-Daniels, gets it to Olson, who kicks it out, draws the foul before getting it to, I believe that would have been Jordan Hobbs on the wing there. Down the 3-point line. Yeah, so the foul there goes on. Foul goes on Jada Mosley. And that'll be her first of the game. Central Michigan now with its 14 fouls, so Michigan will be shooting free throws in the bonus the next time Central Michigan commits a foul. Jordan Hobbs inbounding under the basket, trying to find someone, and we'll kick it to Greta Kempschrader, who pulls up for a wide open 3, and that goes. Greta Kempschrader's 4th 3 of the game continues to propel the Wolverines, and she is now the team's leading scorer.
And that's 12 points leading the Wolverines, surpassing Jordan Hobbs' 11. Like I said, all off free throws. I think that's.
Yeah. Central Michigan struggling to find anything. A little jumper there, and that goes. Maybe some regression to the mean here for Central Michigan, getting some of those tougher shots to fall. As Michigan puts it in transition, Brooke Quarles-Daniels rims out off the transition layup. As now Central Michigan another wide open 3, and that shot just misses there from Maddie Morrison. Michigan trying to push the ball back up with Macy Brown to Olivia Olson, who's trying to work it down low, and she travels. Michigan with a couple careless turnovers here. Not that it may matter and impact the final outcome, but not some of the fundamentals that you would ideally like to see coming out of the Chippewas. It's now Central Michigan bringing the ball up with Lisa Tesson. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Just now 2.5 minutes to go. As a cutter and an and one there. A nice find off the assist. And that will be Riley Smith on the and one. She's played well. She's had a couple nice plays, and that definitely been a bright spot as a freshman for Central Michigan, right, Vihaan?
Yeah. Smith, a rotational option off the bench. 3 points and 1 rebound in their 65-62 loss to Coastal Carolina, which was their first game of the season and the only game they've played of the season so far until their visit to Ann Arbor.
Free throw by Smith is no good. Michigan gets the rebound up 48-24. Now trying to push the ball in transition. Nearly a bad pass, but Swords is able to corral it. Kicks it out. And that, I believe, will be Macy Brown for the 3, and that misses. Tipped off. Olsen was trying to tip it off a Central Michigan player. Unsuccessful, and Central Michigan will bring the ball up here. Central Michigan been playing a lot better, made 5 out of their last 7 field goals. So now they're trying to work the ball around the perimeter. They're only shooting 38% from the field, but they're still down 24 points. There's a foul there by the Wolverines. I think that'll go against Mila Holloway. If it is, that will be her third. Now it'll go against Olivia Olson, so not Holloway's third. Olivia Olson, that is just her first personal foul. The Central Michigan will get, there's a foul on the floor, so it looks like they will be inbounding the ball from under the basket. The Chippewas struggling to get the ball inbounds, ultimately able to get it to Morrison. Tries to work it, pulls up from the elbow, and her shot is good. Central Michigan really has found some of the offensive rhythm. It's interesting to see how Michigan kind of responds out of the halftime break, and obviously for the rest of this half as well. Wolverines is a careless pass there by Jordan Hobbs, intended for Mila Holloway, trying to pass it around the horn, and that is a careless turnover from the Wolverines. Now I believe they're up to 6 turnovers on the game.
Yeah, the Chippewas having put a respectable 18 points, I believe, on the board throughout this quarter, and just really showing some better sides of ball movement. There's been significantly fewer turnovers, which was a huge issue for them in the first quarter.
Yeah, Central on a 6-0 run, and they're trying to make it a 9-0 run. Here is a shot. A three-pointer goes down for Jess Lawson. A 9-0 run for Central Michigan is a foul committed while Mila Holloway was handling the ball, but a 9-0 run for Central Michigan in just over a minute and a half. It's trimmed this deficit from 28 down to 19. But because that was 5 fouls, Central Michigan will be Michigan will be going to the line rather for 2 free throws. Holloway makes the first of those 2. Central Michigan now over the limit with 5 team fouls. As Holloway puts up the second, is as good to kind of quell the Central Michigan run and spurt that we just saw there. Some really nice shooting, offensive display, but some turnovers for Michigan really allowing that to happen. As another turnover there from Central Michigan. I believe that was Lawson. Puts it right into the hands of Silas Swords, who goes towards the rim for a layup, and that misses. A point-blank shot, as now Macy Brown will try to tie it up. And it looks like the arrow will favor Central Michigan, making them use the arrow, however. Silas Swords has not had it tonight, but the rest of the team, luckily, has been able to kind of pick up the load, right, Vihaan?
Absolutely, yes. And even though Swords hasn't necessarily been where she's wanted to be with her shooting, she's shown just – I've talked a lot about speed in relation to this team and how it's such a big asset for them. 100%. She's one of the quickest players on this court.
Yeah, and she's still getting a lot of very high percentage looks. They just haven't gone for her. A couple of missed layups, very uncharacteristic of her. As a 3 there misses from Central Michigan, I believe that was Riley Smith. And looks like they were able to get the offensive rebound and draw a foul. And that foul will go against Jordan Hobbs. That's her first of the game. And now shooting free throws will be Darrington. Ayana Sarai Darrington, a freshman forward from Lexington, Kentucky, shooting free throws and clanks the first. Just under a minute to go in this first half. Michigan's possession error up 50-29. Now the Wolverines still in command and control despite the offensive spurt here from the Central Michigan. As the second free throw is up and good from Darrington, cutting the deficit to 20 points. Jordan Hobbs will look to bring up the ball with a little bit of a light press there from Central Michigan. As now Macy Brown handling the ball, trying to find something. Michigan looking to go hopefully 2 for 1 here. Silas Swords travels, walks up with the ball, trying to go up. Now 15-second differential between the shot and the game clock will be interesting to see. Central Michigan tries to go quick here. Wolverines now up to 7 turnovers in this game. I believe 5 or 6 of those at least coming in this second quarter. Central Michigan quickly trying to go up and go 2 for 1 if they can get something to work. And a nice move and a layup, no good from Jess Lawson as the rebound is corralled by Jordan Hobbs. Just a 4-second differential between the shot and the game clock now. So Michigan will ideally look to hold for the last shot. Wolverines, Mila Holloway dribbling the ball with 12 seconds of the shot clock, 16 seconds of the game clock. Trying to dribble the ball. Here comes the screen from Jordan Hobbs, and the Wolverines going to work. Holloway working down to the rim and draws the foul with 10.6 left in the game clock, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Holloway will go to the line here.
Yeah, as Holloway has, the Wolverines have really spread the love in terms of free throws, but Holloway has definitely gotten a lot of these looks.
Yeah, I mean, she's been very solid getting to the free throw line. 0 of 3 from 3, but 3 of 4 from the line. Now a chance to add potentially 2 more to that. First free throw is up and no good. Holloway will get the second attempt. Just a little bit surprised about that, but we'll see as the second one, trying to redeem herself a little bit, is up and splash. 51-30 Wolverines. Is a little bit of a press comes. Looks like South Shores gets up a little bit gimpy. Seems like she's okay. Olivia Olson off the steal and the lay-in to end the half. And now we'll end the half. Central Michigan chucks up a heave, and that is no good. A nice steal there. South Shores comes up a little bit gimpy, but it looks like she is all okay there. As Michigan leads and goes into the locker room up 53-30.
And a 50-point first half for the Wolverines, just continuing this stellar offensive trajectory that they've been on throughout their first 2 games. I think they are well on pace to hit the 80-point marker. You can potentially see even more dominance. I do expect to see significant amounts of rotation in the second half, just for the sake of keeping those legs fresh. But I think there's been a lot to like here. I think this team has shown that, yeah, you can take your looks, you're good at driving down the paint, you're good at utilizing your speed to stretch the court, as we've seen like some Olsen and Swords. But we've also seen a lot of those big splash plays, especially for Cam Schrader, who has only scored points off of threes, as well as Jordan Hobbs. And
yeah. 100%. It's been a very balanced first half, as we've discussed on this first half broadcast here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Olivia Olson, 8 points. Jordan Hobbs, 11. Greta Cam Schrader, 12. Mila Holloway with 6. It's been a very solid half. South Shores only with 7. As halftime is now upon us here at the Crisler Center. Really solid effort. Michigan shooting 45.2% from the field, 50% from 3 though, and that's really what's propelled them in this first half. Central Michigan looked like they found something, but just those first half turnovers and inability to get anything going offensively has really just plagued them in this game. That hot start for the Wolverines has really been what's propelling them.
Yeah, and the Chippewas have been better in the second quarter. I think that was 22 points, turning over the ball significantly less, which are both obviously things that you want to see. But it's just, as you said, I think the amount of sloppiness and errors committed in that first quarter was just insurmountable. As we're going to have halftime bingo here at Crisler Center.
Yeah.
If you stayed tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Of course, we'll be with you for a few more minutes, and then Josh and I will say adieu for the night. And
no, it's been a great first half. Just to recap a little bit before we kind of pass it off to Zach, Warshaw, Meyer, Cusnir. We'll pass it off. Michigan, 9 of 20 on layups. I think that would probably say that it's the main area where the Wolverines can improve. I don't know if it's necessarily an area of improvement. Some of them just got to go down. But I think it really does just show it's a testament of just how the high percent shots. I'd either like to be 75, 80% of those layups because they, a lot of them have been good looks that have just kind of rimmed out. So maybe a little bit of work to do in the second half on that. But I think Michigan, you want to come out of the half, really kind of just go on a nice little run, put the game out of reach here. Very solid. The Wolverines able to capitalize off those Central Michigan early turnovers. Just to recap on the Central Michigan side, Jess Lawson is leading the team with 9 points, 4 of 7 from the field. Next leading scorer for the Chippewas are Riley Smith and Taylor Anderson, who both have 5 points apiece. So really, really struggling offensively. But again, they're only shooting 39% from the field, so you're thinking they're only shooting 5% worse from the field, worse than Michigan. The real kind of reason why they haven't been able to capitalize and, why this deficit is 23 points is just because of those turnovers, and Michigan has been very efficient from 3. But we shall see what happens in the second half as Michigan tries to stretch its lead and close out a nice victory to put themselves up 2-1 with the Oakland Golden Grizzlies looming on Sunday, which will be, I believe, a little bit of a revenge game for Corals Daniels. So will be fascinating to see that. Track the team throughout the rest of the game, the rest of the game and beyond as it moves throughout its non-conference slate and of course into Big Ten play. So for me and Vihaan, we'll be signing off from the Crisler Center and passing the baton over to the rest of our awesome broadcast team this evening. And we are signing off and wishing you guys with the Go Blue as we will take a quick break and then ultimately come back for the second half with a new broadcasting pair.
right, everybody. Welcome back to the Crisler Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan. My name is Zach Warshaw, accompanied here by Mayor Cusnir for the second half. Just to recap, Michigan is leading 53-30. About 2:15 before we start the second half. Mayor, what are you looking for?
So it's really been a great game so far for the Wolverines, but not so much for Central Michigan, even though they had a late really comeback push. At one point, Michigan was leading by almost 30 points when it was 40-10, and then they were able to close the second half with about a 12-0 run. But really the start of the game so far has been Greta Camtrader, and she has had 12 points with all of them coming from the three-point line. And that has been more, tonight's 12 points are more than the first two games combined this season. So she really has had a great game today. Exceptional leadership from the senior. And what are we expecting right now in the second half from the Wolverines to start it off?
Well, the first half we saw was a complete domination on part by Michigan. Sorry, the first quarter, I mean. Second quarter, they seemed to almost get a little too confident, pull off the gas a little bit, and Central Michigan, it's a 23-point lead, which is obviously not exactly close, but it's not out of reach by any means. So we're going to see Michigan probably try to just tighten up the things they were having trouble with in the second quarter there, just getting a little overconfident probably and not really playing true to their game.
Absolutely, and as listeners have heard, Silas Sword, statistically, she may not have had the best half. She has not been very efficient on the court with her shooting, but very interestingly, she does have the best on-court presence with a plus-minus of 29, which is the highest for all players on the court. So what we're really seeing from Swords is even though she's a freshman, she has an incredible impact on the game, no matter if she's scoring the ball or not.
Absolutely.
And to talk a little bit about this team, it's a fairly new team compared to last year. There are a total of 5 freshmen this year, and this is the best recruiting class for Michigan women's basketball in program history. And we're really seeing it right here with 3 starters being freshmen, which is something pretty rare for any Michigan program and any really basketball program in the country.
Absolutely. Kind of an interesting look. They got a bunch of freshmen starting and really all guards. Michigan has only been starting their guards. They haven't started any of their centers or forwards in any of the 3 games.
Yeah, and I think what we can attribute this to is the level of play that the guards play together. We have seen in the first half the speed at which they play. They are playing incredibly fast. And I think that's what also pushed them to a 30-point lead in the first half, was how fast they were able to push the ball in the transition and make these easy baskets.
Absolutely. So as we get ready for the start of the second half here, Michigan going from left to right still in their all maze. Forgive me, sorry, Michigan going from right to left still in their all maze. Central Michigan in the all maroon going from left to right.
And here I really expect to see the freshmen again take charge. I mean, Olivia Olson had an incredible first half with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, really a great all-around performance.
Absolutely. We'll see the same starting 5, Olson, Holloway, Hobbs, Camp Schrader, and Swords out for Michigan. You got Hobbs at the top of the arc for it, passes it over to Swords. Swords cuts in, right side, layup attempt. They're going to say a blocking foul, it looks like.
And in the first half, we really saw Silas Swords really struggle with layups, and that's something very non-typical of her. Her game really revolves around being able to shoot the 3, but also drive in and finish on the layups. So we're assuming that they're going to start falling at some point tonight.
Absolutely. With only 7 points in the game, she sits up for 2 free throws here. First one switches in easily, so that'll bring her to 8. 54-30 Michigan at the start of this third quarter. Swords lines up for her second free throw. And that's good as well. So she makes both to bring it 55-30. Central Michigan now inbounds. Lawson's going to take it up the court for the Chippewas, passing it over to the left side. Ahead was looking for, looks like Johnson there. Sorry, that was Mosley actually, just a little too far. However, they're going to say it was some type of guarding foul.
And the Chippewas have tried those little lob passes to the inside in all the first half, and it did cause them to have an astonishing 14 turnovers in the first half.
CMU inbounds the ball here, right below the arc. Layup shot, no good. Holloway rebounds, takes it across half court. Top of the arc, pass it over the side for Olson. Olson takes a 3, and it's good. Olson with her fourth field goal of the game, first 3-pointer will make it 58-30 Michigan. CMU now has it. They're going to send it around the horn on the left-hand side. Takes a three of their own, however, it's going to clank off, no good. They'll get their own rebound with Smith in the corner. Smith over to Morrison. Tried to pass it over to Mosley, however, was blocked away. It's going to be out off of Olivia Olson, though, so CMU will retain possession.
And this Michigan starting five, even though on offense they're playing incredibly, I think on defense is really where their performance has been outstanding.
CMU now has the ball. Morrison has it at the elbow. Pass it over to the left for Lawson. We're going to call it travel on CMU, however, so it's going to be Wolverine ball.
And the Wolverines have been running a zone defense for most of the game, and you can tell that they've practiced this defense, especially with this starting five, a lot because they just move so cohesively around with each other.
It's such a well-oiled machine, as you can see. Everyone's in sync. They all know where each other are and how it works. Holloway passes to Swords at the top of the arc here. Over to the right wing for Olson. Olson looking for someone to pass to. She'll shift over to the top. Left-hand drive over to the corner for Swords. Try to drives in. And they're going to call, and looks like an offensive foul on Swords here. She just blew into the chest of Maddie Morrison for Central Michigan. So Central Michigan will have the ball now with Riley Smith inbounding it for him. Lawson will take it across the half-court line for the Chippewas. Back to Smith on the right wing. He's going to pass to the top of the arc for Mosley. Mosley back to Smith, back to Mosley. Over to the left-hand side now. Back to Mosley at the top of the arc. Passes it ahead for Morrison. Over to Smith on the right wing. Takes a three. Swish. Great shot by Riley Smith there. They'll make it 58-33. Immediately a tie-up now in the Michigan attacking zone. And Central Michigan's going to take it away. And then there's a lot going on right there. They're going to call a foul on somebody.
On Olson, I believe.
Guess she just brushed up a little too much against Morrison as she was taking it over the half-court line. Be a foul on Olivia Olson. And Central Michigan will have possession. Riley Smith will inbound it from the Michigan defensive zone. Passes into Morrison. Morrison passes it over to the left wing. Got Mosley over there. Mosley passes it to Smith at the top of the arc. Over to Lawson on the right-hand side. Drives towards the hoop. Takes a jumper that's good. Just hit the back of the net and in. Make it 58-35. Holloway now up to Olson on the right-hand side. Except they're going to call it travel, so refs are going to put a stop to that play. And another turnover for Michigan. We've seen a little bit of sloppy play from the Wolverines here to enter the second half, and Central Michigan is trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree with you, and a lot of it is attributed to Holloway really wanting to push the ball on offense. She's really looking for the speed, and I think they really need to calm down and get everything back rolling.
Definitely, stay true to their game. Riley Smith now has it for the Chips. Going to drive to the right side of the net, except back out. Now she drives in again, trying to get past Campstrader. Stolen by Swords, who's going to take it the other way now for Michigan. Swords pass it over to Hobbs on the right wing. Takes a three. Just going to clank off the right side of the iron. Central Michigan rebounds. Lawson now takes it up for the Chippewas. Bounce pass to Riley Smith right in front. Layup opportunity missed. Campstrader will rebound for the Wolverines. Pass it over to Hobbs, who takes it up the right-hand side for Michigan. Over to Holloway now, just dribbling around the half-court logo. On the right wing, now at the free throw line, driving in the left, right-handed layup, just a little bit short there. They are going to call a foul on CMU, though, and Holloway is going to go to the line to shoot two. Holloway has 6 points, still 0 for 3 only 1 for 4 for field goals, so her 4 out of 6 free throws are what's really saving her game. She needs to find a way to pick it up here. Definitely trying her hardest. So she'll get an opportunity, though, to get 2 more points here on these.
Yeah, now we do have the substitution of the Michigan big center, Yulia, number 55. And I think this is a really smart move by head coach Kim Barnes-Rico of the Wolverines because clearly offense needs to get something moving, and the size difference between her and the rest of the players on the court is just incomprehensible, honestly.
For sure. Meanwhile, Holloway will sink both free throws, making it a 60-35 advantage. Central Michigan now has possession. Riley Smith has it on the right wing. Throw it over the free throw line, over to the right-hand corner. Air ball 3 by Tesson there, Lisa Tesson for Central Michigan. So Michigan will get possession over that air ball that just landed out of bounds. Holloway will take it up court for the Wolverines now. Taking her time with the center logo, trying to run some type of play. Sends over to Swords on the right wing. We're going to call a foul on Central Michigan. Looks like just a reach-in foul on Darrington for the Chippewas. So Holloway will inbound the ball right from in front of her own bench there on the right-hand side. Olsen now has it at the logo for the Wolverines. Pass it over to Yulia, who loses the ball, and Central Michigan's going to take it. Tried to pass it ahead, however, it was knocked away by Holloway. Great behind-the-back move, however, they're going to call a kicked ball foul. Holloway, almost embarrassing Jess Lawson there for Central Michigan, not going to lie. However, got a little foot on it, so they'll stop that play. Michigan retains possession, however.
And Holloway really takes great command from the offense. Even though she's not scoring too many points, she sets up all the plays. She dishes out some very nice passes.
Absolutely. She's kind of the captain here of this offense for the time being. Olivia Olsen now on the left wing with the ball. Trying to get around the Central Michigan defender. Has nowhere to go. Finally passes it over to Hobbs. Hobbs driving through the left lane. Left-handed layup. Ooh, in and out. Not going to be good. And Central Michigan will be able to rebound there with Silas Swords right in their face, so it's going to be tough. They will eventually take it over there. Central Michigan now in the attacking zone. Passes it up to Riley Smith over on the right. Right in front of the net for Darrington. Layup opportunity no good, however, so a huge missed opportunity as Holloway takes it the other way. Right at the free throw line here for the Wolverines. Back out to Swords. Three-pointer no good. In and out again. Just trading misses here, both teams. The Central Michigan will take it over to their side again.
Both teams on a scoring drought for the past 2.5 minutes.
Pass to Darrington right in the below the net. This layup is good. So just as you said, they had a scoring drought. They'll end it and make it 60-37 with about 5 minutes remaining in this third quarter.
And I would like to see the Wolverines involve the post work a little bit more. We see the size difference between Yulia and the CMU forward. So we see them trying to target her, but not successful as of this point.
Olivia Olsen will take a shot from the elbow that sinks in, so that's going to be another 2 for her. 62-37 Michigan. CMU now takes it up court. See the band now chanting air ball as the last shot taken by Mia Hamm, Melahan, was a air ball. Below the net, backhanded layup that goes in. That was Lisa Tesson, apologies, not Melahan. Great shot. Thrown up to Sayla Swords, who had a left-handed layup from about 10 feet out, and it sinks in. What an amazing quick play there by Michigan to rebound. CMU now has it in their attacking zone. Tesson has it, or Lawson has it for CMU. Back out, can't see who that is, sorry. Back to Tesson up at the top of the arc. Over to Riley Smith on the right wing, takes a 3, and it's good. Riley Smith's been on fire for 3 this quarter. She has 3 in this quarter alone. Michigan will now throw it again back up to Sayla Swords. She's on the left side, left corner over there from Michigan. We'll pass it back out to Holloway in the center. Meanwhile, something happens off ball. Olivia Olsen falls down. They're going to call a foul here.
And we're really seeing now CMU's shooting finally come into fruition. What they really wanted to happen in the first half, they've already made 3 3-pointers this half. In these first 12 minutes, 7 minutes of action compared to only 2 3-pointers they made in a total of 20 minutes in the first half. So shooting's finally going down for Central Michigan. The University of Michigan Wolverines' offense has been more stagnant. CMU is 3 of 3 for their last 3 field goals. So right now, I really think the Wolverines need to start targeting Silas Swords more. She has been having an off game, but I think if she's able to finally get some shots going down as she was able to do with that layup, she should be able to take over and really pull the Wolverines away in this matchup.
Absolutely, but they shouldn't neglect defense either, because for the most part this half, so far, their best defense has just been when Central Michigan straight up misses on their own accord. They, as you mentioned earlier, Graviskaya needs to use that size. She's 6'5". Everyone on Central Michigan, except for the most part, is not going to be that tall. They have one person that's the exact same height.
Yeah.
So use that size advantage and post up in the paint. They need to put more pressure on them. We're kind of just letting them do their own thing and just hoping they miss on their own when they really should be more aggressive defensively. They still have their foot off the gas while
And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, on the defensive end in the first half, we felt a sort of intensity on every single play. We even saw them trying to press, and when CMU was bringing up the ball, and even when they were already in the half-court offense, we saw them really in denial of all the shooters on the edge of the rim. We saw them really being physical in the post work and not letting any offensive rebounds come on in. But what we're seeing now is a little bit more laziness on the defensive end for the Wolverines. We're seeing a lot more open shots. So CMU is able to move the ball a lot easier without any denial that we're seeing in the perimeter. So I agree with you. There needs to be some sort of defensive intensity that will then translate into quick offense, because as we've seen with this Michigan crew, they love the transition offense.
100%. They live and die off of that. They do, when they take their time in the setup, they do better when it's just like a quick turnaround, throw it up court and figure something out.
Yeah, Mila Holloway absolutely loves dishing out those easy passes, those outlet passes to someone in the corner as she's taking up the ball on a 3-on-2 fast break opportunity. So we're looking to see if she continues to do that in the second half.
Absolutely. As we exit the commercial break here, 3:50 left in the third quarter, 64-42, Michigan leading the Chippewas here.
And I really think we did expect this to be more of a blowout game based on how the game started. I mean, at one point, the score was Michigan 40, 10 to Chippewas, so it's been a surprise.
Michigan didn't even have a point about 6 minutes into this game as Olivia Olson takes her first free throw. That'll be good.
And Olivia Olson really has had a good game. 14 points, 5 for 10 from the field, 1 for 1 3 points. Has made all her free throws, including this last one. She's now 4 for 4 from the free throw line.
Great job by Olsen as Michigan makes a couple of substitutions here. Cam Schrader is going to come back into the game alongside Macy Brown. As Central Michigan takes the ball up the court now. It's going to be Mela Ham with it. Passes it over to the top of the arc. Over to the left-hand side. Over to the corner now. Pruitt has it. Tried to pass it to the top. It was intended for Anderson, however, going to be there's a lot going on right now. I'm sorry. You're going to be tied up with a couple players on the ground. Possession arrow is going to favor Central Michigan, so they'll retain the ball. That was a lot really fast.
And that is that Michigan intensity on the defense that we like to see. There was 2 loose balls there in that possession, and everyone diving on top of it.
Central Michigan inbound now. Lisa Tesson with it. Passes it back out. Pruitt with the ball. Just a floater there. A little too far. How it's rebound by Darrington. And the shot clock's going to expire on Central Michigan, so it'll be a turnover, and Michigan will be able to get possession after a good defensive stand there by the Wolverines. Holloway now with immediate defensive pressure already in her own zone as she takes it length of the court. Loses possession, however, is able to regain it. Back out to Macy Brown, back to Holloway, left side. Three-pointer, rings around and in.
And I mean, that's everything you want to see from Mila Holloway. She completely passes by the press defense, gives one pass, then goes to the corner and drains a 3.
Meantime, Central Michigan with a quick 3 on the opposite side. However, it's no good. That was by Mela Ham. So back to Holloway now on the left wing in their own side. Dribbling across court. Pass it over to Cam Schrader, over to Brown, over on the right wing now. Back to Holloway on the right-hand side. Tries to give it ahead for Grabaskaya. Lost. Grabbed by Cam Schrader. Left-handed sky hook. Going to be missed. Rebounded by Krajvaskova. I can't speak. There's apologies. It's going to finally roll out of bounds, and looks like they're going to say this was off CMU, so Michigan will retain possession. They might take a look at this. Oh, no.
I believe
are they going to call a foul, actually?
Yeah. 2 free throws for Yulia Grabaskaya.
Grabaskaya will shoot 2 now.
And I think it's just so impressive, these freshmen. I mean, if you didn't give me a stat sheet and showed me the year of these girls, I would never be able to tell you that between Silas Swords, Olivia Olson, Mila Holloway, that they were all freshmen. You would think that they are veterans on the team, that they're leaders in the locker room, on the court. I think it is just so impressive, the poise that they play with at this level in their collegiate career.
It's very impressive. To see a couple of freshmen enter this and really visibly look like they're veterans is really impressive for anybody. Central Michigan now has it. Pass over to Lisa Tesson at the top of the arc. Over to Lawson on the right-hand wing. Trying to dribble around, has nobody. Finally pass it over to Anderson. Anderson tries to dribble through a couple of people. However, she's going to lose the ball. Macy Brown rebounds for Michigan. Passes it ahead for Holloway. Interception by CMU. Will take it the other way. They got a 2-on-1. Tries to get around the defender. Lisa Tesson with a great reach around layup to give Central Michigan another 2 points. 71-44 now with 2 minutes left in the second. Cam Strader taking it ahead for Wolverines now. Over to Swords at the top of the arc. Swords walks back to the logo, letting her team set up a little bit here. Walk forward, pass it ahead to Cam Strader. Cam Strader over to Brown. Brown's going to drive in the left-hand side, pass it back out to Holloway. 3 clanks off the iron, rebound by Grabiskaya. No good, and then Holloway was shoved from behind, it looked like, so it's going to be another foul on CMU.
And Grabiskaya really is a monster on the offensive rebounds. She has 3 offensive rebounds today, and she's only played 8 minutes. But you would like to see her be able to capitalize on those offensive rebounds and second chance points. I do not believe that she has been able to make one of those second chance points. She has gotten fouled twice and converted on those free throws. But you do wish that she would be able to really convert on those opportunities.
Absolutely. Just one more thing missing. It seems like she needs to tighten up.
Absolutely.
Holloway's first free throw is good here. Sorry, not Holloway. That is Brooke Daniels. I thought that was a 3. That's a 5. That's my fault. I apologize. So Daniels taking her second free throw here. That'll be good as well. Gives Michigan a 73-44 lead. CMU now takes it up court. Over to Riley Smith on the right-hand side. Pass it over to Mosley, top of the arc. Mosley looking for anybody. Pass it over to Lawson on the left-hand side. Back to Riley Smith, left corner 3. Little too short, clanks off the iron. It'll be a Swords rebound. Swords up to Cam Strader, heading ahead for the Michigan Wolverines. Over to Daniels on the left-hand side. Back up to Swords at the top. She's going to drive in the left post. Back out to Daniels. Over to Holloway. Sorry, Brown. Brown over to Daniels on the left-hand side. Back to Cam Strader at the top. Over to Grabiskaya, right in front of the net. She's going to try and get around, blocked by a Central Michigan defender, stuffed right in her face. Central Michigan takes it the other way. Back out to Tesson on the right-hand side. 3-pointers, good. 73-47 with 50 seconds left, Central Michigan. Macy Brown will take it ahead for the Wolverines now. Over to Daniels on the right-hand side. 2 for inside the arc. Air ball, unfortunately. Central Michigan's going to have possession of it. They're going to fall, and now it's going to be a tie-up with 3 to 4 players.
And right now we're really seeing the effects of an offense without Mila Holloway. She has been the person that is like you said, the captain of the offense. She's drawing up the plays. She's making sure everyone's where they need to be, driving in, kicking it out to the corner, really making the defense chase her around. And right now the offense does seem a little bit stagnant without her.
The possession error favored Michigan, so they'll be able to keep the ball. Swords to inbound here. Pass it to Cam Strader on the right side. 3-pointer immediately. Bounces around a few times, but no good ultimately. Mosley a rebound for Central Michigan. Takes it ahead for the Chips. Absolutely swarmed by Swords and Daniels there. Tries to pass it over to Tesson. However, it's going to be right over the line, so they're going to call it an over and back violation and a turnover, giving Michigan the ball again. Absolute in-your-face defense there from Swords and Daniels to force that turnover. And
that was an incredible trap. They saw that someone that does not feel too comfortable with CMU getting the ball, trapped her with the corner in the backcourt.
Macy Brown now has it for Michigan at about the half-court line. Walking towards the right wing, passes it over to Swords on the top of the arc. Over to Cam Strader, right to her left. Cam Strader just on the edge of the Michigan logo. She's going to drive in now on the right-hand side. Right-handed layup, and it's in. Seconds are going to tick off the clock here at the end of the quarter. Half-court heave from Central Michigan. Almost good, honestly. Just bounced off the backboard and the rim. So at the end of the third quarter, it's going to be Michigan 75, Central Michigan 47. Michigan able to extend the lead a tiny bit here, but still not by much. They got a couple of mistakes that keeping them from totally blowing this one open. Central Michigan had a very decent third half by all accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And I think what's really keeping Central Michigan in the game has been the turnovers on the Wolverines. They have had 13 turnovers today in a game where you really expect them to not be over the 10 turnover mark. So I really think that's been the reasoning for this game. Honestly, still being I don't want to say close, but still being a matchup and
not being how close you'd think for a MAC team tune-up game, for like all things considered.
Exactly, especially when you want to see this Wolverine team being a little bit stronger, especially against these weaker teams, because, I mean, we can pretty confidently say that the Big Ten is, if not the toughest, one of the toughest conferences for women's basketball. I mean, there are 6 teams in the Big Ten ranked in the top 25 AP poll, and Michigan is not one of them. They are right outside the top 25 with around, and they did receive a significant amount of votes to be in the top 25, but they're still right out of it. So they face an incredibly tough schedule this year. And it was even harder than last year. And with a really fresh team, with 5 freshmen on the team, only 3 transfers, and as we know, a very freshman-heavy starting lineup, they need to be able to really get it together in these less important games that are not as significant matchups.
Yeah, if you're able to hang with the #1 team in the country, the undefeated national champion, South Carolina in Las Vegas, and almost like have a decent opportunity to win that game, you really should be able to, with all due respect, blow Central Michigan out of the water. And so Michigan clearly has some things they need to work on, both in this fourth quarter and before the conference schedule starts up.
Absolutely, and that was such a great point you made about how great they played against University of South Carolina, which was the #1 team. And we saw because of that, really, Silas Sword's name was put on the map because of that game. She was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week this week because of her performance really versus South Carolina and most recently versus Lehigh. She had 27 points and 12 rebounds versus South Carolina, and that is the best debut points-wise for a Michigan freshman in program history. So very impressive start for her. And then she had 20 points versus Lehigh. So she was off to a very hot start. She did slow down a little bit today, but we saw that she has an incredible impact on the court even when she's not scoring points.
Absolutely. Central Michigan's going to have it now to start the fourth quarter. It'll be Lawson at the top of the arc for it. Going to pass it ahead for Darrington. Darrington has it right in the right side. Over to Smith behind her back. Goes it for a layup. However, it's going to be a blocking foul on Hobbs, it looks like. And Riley Smith is going to shoot too. 75-47 at the start of the fourth quarter here. Riley Smith taking 2 free throws. She's 0 for 1 on the night in her free throws. Looking to fix that. 11 points for Central Michigan, though. Tied for the most all night. First one's going to be good for her. So now with 12 points, she leads Central Michigan. She hasn't taken the ball into the zone for Central Michigan, but she always seems to touch it at least once every possession for the Chips. So definitely a key part of this offense for them. One of their taller players, too, at 6'2". Michigan now takes it the other way with Mila Holloway. Holloway on the right-hand side. Heading towards the corner. Going to pass back out to Olivia Olson on the right wing. Olson trying to get around Mosley. Mosley takes a shot from about inside the arc, and it's going to be smooth in. So 77-49 Central Michigan.
And Olivia Olson, she loves that mid-range shot. She loves navigating around the post and then really getting a little fadeaway around the block.
As a Suns fan, it reminds me of watching KD just take that
a little bit
fadeaway.
Yeah, a little bit.
Touch the rim.
She just feels very confident. She has a very soft touch around the rim.
Central Michigan now is going to inbound it in their own, or in Michigan zone. Going to throw it all the way back out to Tesson at the logo. Tesson's going to drive on the left-hand side. Left-handed layup. Almost good and in. However, just a little bit to the left, so it'll bounce out. They're going to call a shooting foul, however, and Tesson's going to shoot, too, for Central Michigan.
And this is a pretty interesting lineup that we're seeing from the Wolverines. We have Olivia Olson in, Mila Holloway, Daniels, Hobbs, and Van Timmer in. So we have a graduate student. We have 2 freshmen. We have Jordan Hobbs.
The most diverse lineup you've ever seen in terms of a freshman and graduate student. Like
Absolutely. And I mean, they're going to have to test out these lineups in these less significant games where they know they're really going to secure a win, because once they get deeper into the season and you don't know what's going to happen with injuries or with players, it's really important to test out all these lineups.
Completely agree. Meantime, Tesson makes both their free throws to make a 77-51 Central Michigan. Olivia Olson's going to have on the right-hand side for the Wolverines now. Going to drive cross court, pass it back out to Hobbs at the top of the arc. Hobbs back out to Mila Holloway, takes a 3. Another one in and out for Holloway.
And you can tell Holloway wants one of these to drop. She is now 1 for 5 from the 3-point range, and she has been itching to make one recently.
Central Michigan now takes it up court with Lawson. Lawson gives it over to Tesson on the left-hand side. Back to Lawson on the right wing. Back to Tesson, top of the arc, over to Riley Smith. Pass it inside to Darrington. Darrington trying to get around. Right-handed layup. Absolutely sinks it over Van Timeren. So very impressive there over the 6'2" forward. Meanwhile, Olivia Olson takes it the other way. Back out to Daniels. Right-handed layup, and it's good. So again, we see Michigan taking advantage of that just quick turnaround offense, trying to catch Central Michigan on their heels, and it really seems to be working. It's a 79-53 Wolverines. Meanwhile, Mosley here Three-pointer from the left-hand side, no good. Able to be rebounded by Darrington of Central Michigan, though. She'll hit the ground, and they'll call a foul here on Jordan Hobbs, it looks like.
And on that previous play, Olsen, she just loves driving in, making the defense collapse around her, and then kicking it right back out to someone else to finish in the layup or the three-point shot.
Central Michigan inbound now with Tesson. Tesson throws it over to Lawson on the left-hand side. She'll carry it around the arc. Now on the right wing. Back to Mosley. Three-pointer from the right wing. Too far. Clanks off the back of the iron. Rebound by Darrington. Another rebound, no good. However, she's going to be fouled again. This time they're going to call it a shooting foul, so Darrington's going to shoot 2 for the Chippewas. 1 for 2 on the night for free throws for Anaya Sarai Darrington.
And right now we have Jordan Hobbs in major foul trouble with 4 fouls with still 8 minutes left to go in the game. And that's not something you want to see out of one of your star players this early in the game.
Darrington's going to sink the first free throw. Absolutely not. I mean, again, Michigan this half, Michigan has 4 fouls. Central Michigan has 0, which you'd think is going to be the other way around, being just where we're at.
And it all goes back to those
second
half points, to those second chance points.
Holloway is going to take it for Wolverines. Just shooting right up the right-hand side. Lose possession of it, however, so Central Michigan will take it. Unfortunate mistake there for the Wolverines. Tesson takes it up for the Chips now. Top of the arc, trying to get around Holloway. Loses the ball, gained by Hobbs. She has Daniels up there, doesn't pass it to her, however. Going to back out to Holloway at the top of the arc, takes a 3, and finally Mia Holloway is able to find her stroke and hits a nice 3 for the Wolverines to get a little something going.
And you just saw the stress release from her body right there. A little.
She was visibly relieved from that.
Absolutely.
Central Michigan now is, in the meantime, going to have Darrington be fouled on a layup that sinks, so she'll go to the line to get for a 3-point play. Darrington's been on fire the past 3 minutes. They're only giving her the ball, and she seemed to have the number of the Michigan defenders in the post there.
Yeah, and we are seeing right now that Jordan Hobbs has fouled out with 7 minutes and 17 seconds left to go in the game. She finished with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists on 25 minutes of action.
Definitely not what you want to see if you're the Wolverines, one of your veteran leader fouling out here with 7 minutes against Central Michigan. However, we'll see Ayanna Dunbar now for the first time, the freshman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Darrington misses the free throw, so unable to make it a 3-point play as Wolverines take it up. Out to Silas Swords on the left-hand side. Too much on that 3-point attempt. It's going to sail past the net and roll out of bounds. They're going to say it's out on Central Michigan, though, so Michigan's going to be able to retain possession. Kind of a nice mulligan there after another one where they tried a quick turnaround but weren't able to capitalize on that. Holloway now to inbound the ball. To Olsen, who immediately takes a shot without even touching the ground, and it sinks in. It's going to make it 84-56. Chips now going the other way. Darrington has it. Back out to Lawson. Lawson on the left-hand side. Riley Smith at the top of the arc on the right-hand side. Passes it over to Ham. Ham trying to find anybody. Back out to Smith. Over to Darrington, right underneath the rim. They're going to call it travel on Darrington, and then be a turnover and Michigan ball.
And with that, the Wolverines have forced 23 turnovers against the Chippewas.
Very incredible numbers here in the turnover department. Holloway, very dangerous pass over to Olsen in their own backcourt. However, Olsen is able to keep it on the right-hand side. Left-handed layup now, it sinks in 86-56 Michigan with 6:38 remaining.
And that is 2 times you've seen Olsen make incredible moves around the basket. To end off the first half, she had a nasty Euro step, and now she hit an over and under for an easy layup. So really comfortable around the basket with some nice moves.
Central Michigan now, 3-pointer from the right side. Clanks off the back of the iron, no good. Rebound Silas Swords. Silas Swords taking up the left. She's got nobody in front of her. Now finally someone comes from behind and pokes the ball out. They're going to pass back out to Holloway at the left arc. 3-pointer is good again. Ladies and gentlemen, Mila Holloway has found her stroke. Now 2 straight 3-pointers in a row. Again, she seems visibly relieved after going 1 for 5 to start.
And now the Wolverines on a 7-0 run, 89-56.
Central Michigan is going to able to sink one. Darrington again, bringing it to 89-58. Mila Holloway is going to take it up the right-hand side for the Wolverines. Dribbling around the court, center court logo, trying to set something up for Michigan here. 5:38 remaining in this fourth quarter. Pass it over to Swords, the top of the arc. Too much on that, loses the ball. They're going to call a foul. It's going to be on Silas Swords. Just reached out a little bit and grabbed just Lawson a little bit too much. And with over 5 fouls, they're in the bonus, so Lawson's going to immediately shoot free throws. The 5'7" senior from Las Vegas, Nevada.
And again, it's a little bit early for the Wolverines to be fouling this much. They already have 6 fouls in this quarter, which is not something you want to see with the composure of how they're ending these games, because even though they're up by a little over 30 points at this point of the game, you want to see some composure. You want to see them really playing cohesively as a defensive group.
If you watch the South Carolina game, you saw the same thing. If you block out the score, it's the same general viewing. They tend to shoot themselves in the foot in the fourth quarter and towards the end with their frankly careless mistakes. They really got to figure out how to tighten that up and get out of foul trouble at the end of the game.
And the good thing that I do think, and the good thing that I do think about this is that it's such a fixable problem. I mean, you can.
It's such a great problem to have.
Yeah, you can say it's because having 3 freshmen in the starting lineup that don't really know how to manage their game time after coming from high school, but I think it's such a fixable problem.
For sure. Olivia Olson now will pull up from the elbow and sink a shot to make it 91-59 Michigan with just about 5:20 left. Olivia Olson's been the story for the Wolverines offense tonight with 21 points. Riley Smith now has it for the Chips at the center court logo. Going to pass it ahead for Morrison. Morrison back out. Three-pointer is good for Tesson and the Central Michigan Chippewas. 91-62 with 5 minutes remaining as Holloway takes it the other way for Michigan now. Standing at the center court logo, trying to get something started. Going to go over to the right wing. Back out to Olson. Olson over to Swords on the left-hand side. Still beyond the arc here. Finally's going to drive in. Back out to Holloway. Another three-pointer. Too much on that one. It's going to clank out. Rebound by Tesson of Central Michigan, who quickly takes it the other way. Goes over to the left-hand side. Over to Riley Smith now. Riley Smith's going to drive to the right side of the net. Right-handed layup. A little too much on that. Rebound by Daniels of Michigan. Pass back out to Swords going the other way. Swords drive left-hand side of the hoop underneath. Runs right into Tesson. They're going to say a blocking foul in Central Michigan.
And I don't know if it's just because I want to see this and I just have huge aspirations, but watching Silas Swords play reminds me so much of watching Caitlin Clark at Iowa. I don't know, the way that she just moves around the court, she just is so confident. She gets the ball and immediately looks to shoot, but also she's not overly confident. She knows when it's the right time to shoot, but she also knows when it's the right time to drive in, attract the defense, and then kick it right back out for someone else to have the opportunity to score.
It's so funny you should say that, because shout out to Pat McAfee, not to overreact, but I was literally texting my mom about this in the first half. I think Silas Swords as a freshman has the opportunity to be like the next Caitlin Clark by the time she's a senior.
I 100% agree.
The raw talent you already see is insane. If she only continues to develop and get better and work on her craft, you can see if she stays for a couple of years, you can see a perennial all-pro in the making here.
Look, we were criticizing her today because she's not on her best game right now. But
even her best game
she has 11 points. She's 4 for 11, so it's not even that horrible of a shooting percentage. She's on 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and on 27 minutes. I mean, even though she has not scored at will like she did in the first 2 games, she has had an incredible impact. And you know what? The stars of the game are the people that are able to impact the play when they're not scoring.
Yeah, even if she's not having a great game, which is still a good game anyway, you see the Central Michigan defense has to worry about her. They can't just be like, oh, she's off, don't worry about that. She's a constant threat that even when it's not directly going through her, they're going to focus on her a little bit, and so someone else will get open, like we've seen Mila Holloway be able to take a couple threes in the past couple minutes just because she finds herself wide open because they're still focusing on Swords, Olivia Olson, Cam Schrader. This team works so well because there's too many good players to focus on. Somebody's always going to be open. It's just a matter of finding the open player every possession. Yeah,
that's a great point. And, I mean, really when they started the game off with, the starting lineup all working so well together, it was not even a close game. I mean, in the first quarter, Michigan scored 29, CMU scored 8. In the second quarter, Michigan scored 24, CMU scored 22. And now that the game is winding down and everyone's starting to really cool off with a Michigan 29-point lead. Michigan has scored 16 points in the fourth quarter, and CMU has scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. So a much tighter matchup in the second half, but really nothing to be worried about.
Michigan now to end back from their own baseline. Pass it out to Cam Schrader. Cam Schrader at the top of the arc, now at the free throw line. Back out to Holloway. Holloway driving towards the middle, out to Brown to the top of the arc. Driving in the left-hand side, just throws it up there. It's going to roll around the basket. Shooting foul, though, so Macy Brown will go to the line to shoot two. 91-62 Michigan with 4:14 left in the fourth.
And we really have seen almost all Michigan players come into the game except for Alyssa Crockett and Tayala Delfos. Everyone else has really gotten minutes, and those two girls have not seen action the whole year. But
yeah, they're in street clothes right now, so I wasn't expected for them to street clothes. They're in joggers, so I wasn't expected for them to play tonight. But so, assuming that they're inactive, we've seen every single Michigan player get into the game, so they definitely like a well-rounded team. It's not a team that just totally depends on their starting five.
And it's the perfect opportunity for this in this game.
Riley Smith now takes a three, a little too much on that, almost an air ball for Central Michigan. Macy Brown will take it the other way now for the Wolverines. Passes it back out to Daniels. Tries to give it ahead to Dunbar, a little too much on that. Central Michigan will have the takeaway. Tesson now takes it ahead for the Chips. Top of the arc now, pass it over to the left. Can't see exactly what it is, sorry. Driver to the left-hand side. Just throws it up there off the side of the backboard, so not a great shot by Anderson there for the Chippewas. They're gonna say it was a shooting foul, so with all due respect, she was bailed out on that one, and Central Michigan will be able to retain possession here and inbound from their own baseline. Or Michigan's baseline, sorry. Tesson throws it in. Bad pass dropped by the receiver. Holloway's going to take it now for the Wolverines the other way. She's going to pull up and just take her time now with 3:30 left. Might want to try to start draining the clock a little bit. Cam Schrader now back over to Holloway on the right-hand side. Holloway just standing there, letting the clock run down a little bit. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Copy free throw line now, driving the right-hand side. Back out to Brown, who takes a three. No good. Rebound by Cam Schrader, though. Back out to Holloway. Thought about taking a shot, but pulled up as the shot clock reset. 3 minutes remaining in this game as Mila Holloway, will just dribble around the center court logo. Pass it to Cam Schrader, over to Daniels now. Daniels around the free throw line. Pass it to Macy Brown at the top of the arc. She'll shoot a three as the clock expires. Nowhere close. And so with that shot clock expiration, Central Michigan will take over. 93-62 Michigan with 2:46 remaining in this fourth quarter. Central Michigan going to make a couple substitutions here. Lisa Tesson's going to take it across the court for the Chippewas. Going to pass it over to the left-hand side, over to Riley Smith now in the left corner. Riley Smith throws it over the middle. Tried to put it ahead for Darrington, however, taken away by Michigan again, and Cam Schrader will take it the other way for the Wolverines. She'll just hand it off to Holloway. Headed towards the right corner here, again, just trying to drain as much clock with 2:20 remaining in this game. Daniels now has it for the Wolverines. Back over to Macy Brown, still on the right-hand side. Over to Cam Schrader on the right wing, takes a three, clanks off the front of the iron. Rebounded by Dunbar, going to be tied up with 4 Central Michigan players. And the possession arrow is going to favor Michigan, so Michigan will be able to retain possession here.
And with that last steal, the Wolverines have reached double-digit in steals, and that is a huge credit to Mila Holloway, who has 4 steals today. So she has had a great defensive game, and also in this second half, she's had a great offensive game, also nailing 3 threes.
Wolverines inbound from the Central Michigan baseline now. Holloway can't find anybody, gives it to Sharapova, Grabaskaya, as she passes over to Holloway, who shoots and is fouled on the shot. I have no idea why I said Sharapova. I apologize to Yulia Grabaskaya there. It's the only somewhat Russian name I could think of. Passes it to Ovechkin. 93-62 Michigan with 2 minutes exactly remaining in this fourth quarter. Mila Holloway is going to shoot 2 free throws again as she would foul on the shot. First one is good, making it 94-62. Bring her to 18 points on the game and 7 of 9 in free throws as she tries to make it 8 of 10 here. That's good as well. 18 points, 8 of 10 for Mila Holloway. Makes it 95-62 Michigan as Central Michigan takes it the other way with Lisa Tesson. Hands it over to Smith on the right-hand side. Back to Tesson, back to Smith, top of the arc, back to Tesson, over to the corner now for the other Smith. Three-pointer from the right-hand side, total air ball. However, it's going to be knocked out of bounds by Grabiskaya, so Central Michigan will retain possession. That's why I was getting a little confused. They have two Smiths on the court right now. Riley Smith and Amaya Smith, both for Central Michigan. Central Michigan inbounds now for Riley Smith, who takes a three from the right arc. No good as well. Rebound by Grabiskaya. Passes it over to Holloway. He'll take it across for the Wolverines. Over to Macy Brown, driving it on the left-hand side. Back out to Holloway now. Grabiskaya. Right in the left-hand side. Tries to get it over the head of Riley Smith. Is unable to. Gets her own rebound, though, and gives it to Daniels. Back out for Cam Strader at the arc. Thought about taking a three for a split second, then realized probably smarter to just let the clock drain out with a minute 10. She'll give it to Macy Brown, who just walks around the half-court line here. Pass it over to Mia Holloway. Mia Holloway on the left-hand side. Pulls up for a three. Thought she was fouled there. It's going to be no good. Central Michigan just didn't even try to rebound that ball, though, so Cam Strader was able to get it for the Wolverines, and she'll just give it back to Holloway, who, again, is just going to dribble this out. 48 seconds left in the game, 8 on the shot clock. They might just take the shot clock violation here. Just kidding. They're going to pull up for a three on the right-hand side. Clanks it off the front, however, she's going to be fouled on the shot.
And this has been the highest scoring game for Michigan this season, both on points scored and both on also points allowed. Michigan has 95, Central Michigan was 62, and in the only other two games they've had this season, they allowed, sorry, I was incorrect. They allowed 68 versus South Carolina, but I mean, thinking about the difference of teams between South Carolina and CMU, you would never think that it would be close in the amount of points allowed.
No, not even remotely. 1 for 2 for Holloway in the first two free throws as she lines up for the third. 96-62 with 38 seconds remaining in this game. Trying to get her 21st point of the night. And she wills and banks off the backboard and in. 97-62 Michigan now as Central Michigan takes it the other way. Head for Griffin now as Central Michigan has put in a couple of their subs. Stolen by Holloway, passed ahead to Daniels, who will just lay it up for an easy another two. 99-62, Michigan on the cusp of the century mark here with 25 seconds remaining. However, the shot clock turned off for Central Michigan. They'll probably just dribble it out themselves. They want to get on the bus back to Mount Pleasant. Lisa Tesson is just going to stand at the center court logo here and dribble this last 15 seconds out, it looks like. They might put something together here. Pass it over to Smith or Griffin on the right-hand side. Now over to Smith on the right corner. Smith back to Griffin. Over to Riley Smith. Back over to Tesson. And time will expire. So 99-62, Michigan over Central Michigan is your final score here. Olivia Olson led the Wolverines in points with 23 tonight. Grabiskaya leads in rebounds with 8, and Mila Holloway had 8 assists on the night to round out your highs for Michigan. Riley Smith was the leading scorer for Central Michigan tonight. Overall, a good win. However, while they won by a decent amount, not exactly the game you thought you'd see tonight. You thought it would be, I don't want to say more of a blowout, but more of a definitive win from Michigan here.
It's not even about the aspect of the blowout or them putting up 99 points, which is very impressive in its own feat. But you just expected a little bit more of defensive poise and integrity throughout the whole game. At the start of the game, they played incredible defensively with only allowing 9 points in the first quarter. And then you saw them let up a little bit. You saw them not try to press. And you don't know if that maybe was a coaching change that they decided to go with just because they saw that it was not necessary to play such intense defense. But you would have expected a little bit more of defensive play out of the Wolverines tonight. But overall, very impressive on the offensive end with not only Olsen scoring 23 points, but Holloway also reached the 20-point mark with 21 points. Cam Strader scored 14 points, and she was really the leading scorer for most of the game with three-pointers early in the game. So, yeah, I think it was a very impressive offensive game. A little bit underwhelming on the defensive end, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, right?
Absolutely. And they got a little bit of time to tighten up the missing pieces here before Big Ten play starts. They'll be back in action here at noon on Sunday against Oakland University, as you mentioned. Chance for a little bit of a revenge game for Brooke Daniels, who's a transfer from Oakland. So got a couple more games before, like I said, Big Ten play starts. Got to work on the foul trouble, late game problems.
Absolutely.
But definitely enough time and easy problems to fix before you start getting into the tough teams, which we discussed earlier. Michigan's got a pretty brutal schedule. So if you put it together, you can put together a good ranked team, but you got to tighten some stuff up.
I mean, this could be a good season for a very talented young team. I mean, head coach Kim Marzarico, she has made it to the NCAA March Madness tourney the past 6 seasons, and of those past 6 seasons, last season was the worst finish out of those seasons, with them being a first-round exit. And the other 5 seasons, they made it to the second round, made it to the Elite Eight one of those years. And in my eyes, I see no reason why they cannot make a deep playoff run, especially with this team, even though they have 3 freshman starters to this point, and I honestly don't see that changing. I don't know why they would change any of the starting crew as of now with how well they're playing offensively. This could really turn out to be a great season for the Wolverines.
I completely agree. I think they could win the Big Ten, definitely, if they are able to put it all together, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in tonight. Again, your final score is 99-63 Michigan. I have been Zach Warshaw alongside Meyer Cusnir. Thank you for tuning in to WCBN Sports. We'll be back in action tomorrow when the men take on TCU. However, until then, I'll leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.
Go Blue.